Peace. I'm Hawaii Mike, and you are tuned in to LTD Plus, where we live authentically, we translate through creativity, and we define culture. If you like what we're doing, topics we're talking about, please hit that subscribe button, likes, shares, all that good stuff. You know what to do. So I got a story to tell. Imagine being a kid growing up and being called white boy constantly because you don't fit in and look like all the other kids. And then you move to this country, the United States, and become a third-class citizen because you're an immigrant from another country. And you don't get that white privilege, after being called white boy and thinking you're white. This isn't my story. This is actually my father's story. My father was born in the Philippines from a Filipino mother and a Palestinian father and just didn't fit in. And, I became this multi-ethnic child growing up here in the United States, first in Hawaii. But when I moved back to San Francisco, where I was born in 1982, there was this thing bubbling that just got its name, and it was called hip hop. It was infectious. It was fresh. It was new. It was energy. It connected to me. It spoke to me. So even though I'm surfing, coming out of the water, what's in my ears and what I'm listening to and what I'm asking to play in the car was rap. I became a B-boy, and it became part of my life. As a dancer, we started to get paid. I met other friends that were in this. These kids called the Invisible Scratch Pickles. Shout out to Mixmaster Mike, Qbert, Apollo, and of course, Alex Aquino. There was a chapter of Zulu Nation because this kid named, what's his name? Y'all might know him. His name is Crazy Legs. He came out to the Bay and helped start the chapter of Zulu Nation. So we were introduced to the culture from New York, not being there, but from the culture, from people who were really there. And we honored it. We loved it. But it was never a goal to work in the industry. I just found myself sneaking into this convention called the Gavin. It was a seminar. We was making fake badges, photocopying. This one, I got an actual official one, Shout out to Fooshnickens. I think that's one of their stickers. And, I was sneaking in just selling weed. Ended up getting offered an internship at the 1992 one. And first record I ended up working when I moved out here 4 months later was one of the most incredible producers and MCs, Diamond D. Like Best Kept Secret was the first record I got to work. Went on to become the National Director of Radio Promotions at that label. Worked with Edo G and the Bulldogs as well, RIP Scientific. Went on to manage Mobb Deep, group you may have heard of. During the Infamous album, right? When the Infamous album came out, I was their road manager. Yes, me, at 21 years old, weighing a $145 wet, I was the biggest dude in the crew on the road. Went to the Source magazine as a marketing manager, mobile marketing manager. We had these vans going around the country. Ended up becoming the style and technology editor later on. Not because I wanted to be an editor, not because my goal was to, work in this industry in that way. It was because of how I dressed, And I brought all of who I was into that position. Pause. And, I would feature products and clothes and stuff from all kinds of different brands, including like a snowboard brand called Burton that only sold their products on the mountain. I went on to create my own publication, LTD. Go check the videos I just posted. I created another magazine, Inked, tattoo publication that focused on the lifestyle. Went on to create a management company. Worked with a gentleman by the name of DJ Clark Kent. Rest in peace. He was also one of my business partners. We worked with Jonathan Mannion, one of the most prolific photographers that covered our culture. Managed another up-and-coming gentleman by the name of Nigel Sylvester. Might know who he is now as well. All that to say, it's not about my resume in the sense of, the work that I did or kind of like being bravado. It's to say, I'm Filipino, I'm Brazilian, and I'm Palestinian. And if you look at how we're at this culture, we're divided within this culture. And we're divided socially, it's in society, and we're divided in this country, all through ethnicity. But I want to say a definition for y'all. And I'm saying this because like everything that I've done, right? I've participated, I have contributed, and I've done all this being that ethnicity that I am. But when it comes to the conversation of who is hip hop, what are we talking right now? It's all about ethnicity. Who was there? Who founded it? You're arguing between FBA, you're arguing between African American, you're arguing Afro-Caribbean. Well, you weren't there. Puerto Ricans weren't there. These weren't there. If we think and step back from this, that is so divisive, and that's not what hip hop was about. That's not the foundation of it. 1,000%. And I will say this till I'm blue in the face. And I have another video I just said this. It is the evolution of Black culture, period. There's no argument to me in that, because once you start going back further in the times, it'll go all the way back to Asiatic Africa, right? When Asia and Africa were together, slave trade, all of those things, jazz, bebop, all those things led to this, right? So there's no taking that away. And I also think that, all right, so listen to this definition: a feeling of fellowship with others through, as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. That sounds pretty hip hop, right? Like that's what drew me into it. That's a feeling, right? That feeling, common interests, attitudes, right? We all had the same attitude, and it's really about energy. If you really step back and look at what we've done, who's participated, who's held this culture up, it is multi-ethnic, right? I was just watching Wild Style. How can we say Puerto Ricans weren't there when Charlie Chase and all these other people? I mean, and then the other part is hip hop. If we're going to argue about when it was started, hip hop didn't even get its name until the early 80s. I believe 82 was the first time the term hip hop was in print. Before that, the words were used, but it wasn't really like, this is what we are, this is who we are, right? It wasn't defined. But this is what we need. We need to communicate unity, because unity is our capital. We are stronger together. In the beginnings of hip hop, everybody was a crew. Cold Crush, Fearless Four, African Movado, Sonic Force, Grandmaster Flash, the Furious Five. It was all crews. Fast forward to now, it's more like singular. People are going at it themselves. You know, they might be part of a label. They might be part of, unfortunately, a lot of times now, you know, with drill is gangs and things like that, but it's not a crew, right? And we're tribal. That is our most natural way to be. And hip hop created multiple tribes, not built off of geographic location or ethnicity or things of that nature. Well, actually, sometimes geographic location, but it was the energy. It was the cooperative nature. It was the common interest, attitudes, and goals. That's what this culture is about. That's what's so strong. But they don't want us together. That's what they're scared of. That's what they're scared of in this country. But if you think about this country, this is literally the youngest country, and we are the superpower. I hate why we are and how we got to this. That's a whole other conversation. But this is literally 2026 is the 250th year of this country, this culture. And I'm just doing this for argument's sake. We say from 73, right? That's actually the year I was born. If we say from 73, right? That's just a little bit over, not even, man, that's less than 20% now. Because if you think of 250, right? Yeah, so that's about 15%-ish, right? Of this country's age. So that fast, we went from one of the most decimated zip codes in the country, the Bronx, literally burning buildings everywhere, motherfuckers just don't care, to the driving force of global culture, transcending every industry and being in the penthouse of all these industries. Yet, we are so divided. We're talking about hip hop is dead, right? We're talking and arguing who created it, who was there, who wasn't there. That's an argument. You know, I have another video about hip hop's birthday, so go watch that one. I'm not even getting into that right now. Our strength is being together. We have authenticity. We have the creative. We have the drive to, well, actually just the natural ability to influence. And that influence is like, it's almost immeasurable. Like you can't put a number or a price on it. And it's something that can't be contained, and it's something that can't be replicated. They can't just copy it. They still need us. And when I say it and I hear that out loud, we don't need them. We need us. But who is us? What is hip hop? Because I bet you most of us have different definitions of what hip hop is. I'm going to tell you what my definition of hip hop is. Hip hop is the most authentic expression of our modern human experience. It is represented by these pillars. These pillars are the DJ, the MC, the B-boy and the B-girl, the dancers, right? Also the style. I put style within that. And the artists, the graffiti artists, the writers, the taggers. And in the beginning, what was it all about? Unity, peace, and love. Those were the expressions. And if you think about our original, those pillars I just said, they go back and are aligned with who we were and how we communicated and how we expressed ourselves before we had language. Before we had, when we were in caves or wherever we were, like we were writing on the walls, right? To tell people what the food was, what the danger was, to tell our stories. That's the graffiti artist. Then we had drums. That's the DJ. That's the producer, right? That created the movement of those B-boys and the B-girls. And that's how they told the stories, was through those movements, until we had language, the orators. And the orators were the tribal leaders, the shaman. Those are the MCs. And what were they sharing? What, to me, is the foundation of life and living? Knowledge of self. That's what it was about. I learned knowledge of self from hip hop when that Zulu Nation chapter was started in the Bay. That's when we started learning it. You know, the lessons of the gods and the earth, which I got a whole other post I'm about to do on that as well. And fast forward, that's how I learned life to be in general. And so this is how we express ourselves naturally as humans, through energy. And that's how I believe we need to connect. But if we don't have a definition, how can we also define who is part of it, right? Because you heard what I've said, I've done. I know my positive contributions have been positive. I know who I am as a person. And that's why if y'all see me and I hear me talk about this, I'm in awe, literal awe of how far we've come. And especially, you know, when I moved out to New York, I was told in the 90s, enjoy it while it lasts. It's not real music. It's a fad. It's going to go away. You know how many times they tried to stamp us out? Y'all remember back in I think it was 91, 92? See Dolores Tucker, and they were Chicago, they were running over all the CDs and, oh, this is violent, it's misogynistic. Yeah, motherfucker, it's violent, because that's the fucking country we live in. And we're a reflection of our circumstances. And the common struggles, the common interests, not ethnicity, is where we truly connect. And the reason also I think we really need to look at this is because this country, like I was saying before, is the youngest country, but we're also representative of the global diaspora. We are the melting pot of this world. Everybody's here. More languages spoken in Queens than anywhere else, or maybe it's Jersey City now, I forget. But regardless, go to Queens. How many ethnicities are represented out there? How many rappers, MCs, DJs come from Queens, right? And express and have this very wide, broad perspective. That's what we need to celebrate. That's where we come together. That's where our core strength is at, because unity, UNITY, is our capital, right? So again, this isn't an easy thing to talk about. This isn't something that's going to get fixed tomorrow, but this is a conversation that needs to be had. We need to put all of this on the table. And I don't even know who the hell determines this. I don't even know if there's I don't know, but I want to open this dialogue up, because how do we move forward? If we keep moving forward individually, they're just going to keep knocking us down. They're just going to buy us off. If we start to go inward and we start to build within self, within community, do we build a stronger foundation? Do we have more opportunity? Because before, the argument used to always be, we don't have the resources. We got all the resources now. Look at your man, LaRussell, out there. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to LaRussell doing his thing, his independent way. And maybe that's something that we need to do, is look at each region. Because where we come from, San Francisco, I come from San Francisco. I'm from the city. And, you know, between the city, the town, Leo, look at the independent nature. Look at the independence we have always represented. From Too Short selling joints out of his trunk back in I think 82, 83. I remember him coming through my high school. E40, still independent, but he's a mogul in various ways. He's got liquor company. He's got all kinds of businesses. He's got a lumpia company. He collaborates with the Filipino, because in the Bay, Filipino culture, I mean, this is that thing I hate about labels, man, because they call Filipinos the black people of Asia. You know what I'm saying? And you go to the Philippines, we got Muslims, we got, you know, I mean, that's what I'm saying. This ethnicity thing, this color thing, it's a divide. It's just for divide and rule. And if we continue to hold up their program, we're going to continue to allow them to rule our voice, our culture. And the victorious are the ones that get to tell the stories. And stories are how we remember. But if we don't start to tell our story, it's going to become his story. You know what I'm saying? And then where do we get? We're going to get written out of it. You see what they do with textbooks. You see what they do with real history, with real information. They hide it. They change it. They manipulate it. And then they shove it down your throat, pause, in a different way and tell you that's the truth, to cause confusion, to cause chaos amongst us, dissension. But you know what we need? Trust. We need solidarity so that we can collaborate. But the only way we're going to be able to do that is to figure out and have some form of agreements on what hip hop is and who the hell can be a part of it. Again, this isn't an easy conversation, but this one has to get started. And so let's figure this out together. Let's start this conversation. Let's go down this path. Let's open up this dialogue. Because I'm going to say this till I can't. We are stronger together, period. And there's so many different ethnicities that have contributed to this culture, to hold it up, to continue it, to celebrate it, to honor it. And that's what we need to do. We need to celebrate. Because I don't know about y'all, I'm proud to be here. I'm excited to be here. I'm grateful to have done all of the things that I have done in this industry, to work and be friends with fucking legends in the game for 30 plus years. I don't feel old. I don't feel outdated. You know what I'm saying? Because we're Generation X. We are the last of analog, the first of digital. I call us the translation generation. And I believe it's up to us to tell the stories, because we were there then and we got to learn from the OGs before us. But the generations after us didn't get to learn directly from us. So we have to fight a little bit to make our way to get that connection going with the generations after us. Because once we can do that and we connect everybody, again, that's when the community happens. That's when we start to be able to celebrate. So again, I want to put this up out there. I'm going to put this on the table. Let's cook. Let's chop it up. Let's see what we can make happen. You know, who's out there? Who's with me? Am I crazy? Am I bugging? Am I off here? Talk to me. Let's open this dialogue up. And again, the goal here is to move this ball forward. But in order to do that, I think celebration, because celebration holds acknowledgement, right? We acknowledge everything that's been there. It holds gratitude, right? Because we're thankful for everything that's happened. And it puts a little bit of awe in there because we're going, wow, that's amazing. And if we start to tie everything together, we're going to have this family tree that is like, you know, it's like the tree of life, truth, you know? So again, I'm Hawaii Mike. I'm just a fan, a participant, and a grateful human being that got to learn, that got to create a career, that got to feed my family, and to make incredible friends and connections and business partners and allies and everything within this industry. And I will do everything I possibly can personally to not just celebrate it, but to protect it, because we do need some gatekeeping at this point. But who's in the gate and who's outside of the gate is the question I got for y'all. So again, I'm Hawaii Mike. This is LTD. Let's live authentically. Let's translate through our creativity, and let's redefine our culture. Love y'all. Peace.